Hey everybody, this is Melina from ScrapbookingwithME.com and Me Crafty Scrapper here on YouTube and Instagram. I wanted to show you a journal I just completed and how I made the base pages for it. So I'll show you how the base pages came together as far as assembly goes, and then how all the shapes of the pages go, and then I'll show you my finished project. This is some paper that I tea-dyed over the weekend. I had a day, Saturday, pretty much all by myself for the first time in ages and ages. And I got some paper staining, tea staining, whatever you want to call it. I've got that done on Saturday. Look at that doily on that one. And then this one had lots of other papers laid on top of it. So it kind of looks collaged, even though it's just tea stained. I love that. And the tea kind of pooled there in the middle. And I have to say that I like the finished smell of tea dye a whole lot better than coffee dyed. So that's just a personal preference, I guess. But the smell of this is not as strong as the coffee stained paper, in my opinion. And I get a richer look to this paper too when I tea dye it. This is cheesecloth. Look at that, what kind of impression that left when that cheesecloth was laid on top of it. So all kinds of little, let me find one that's got that piece of, I had some lace trim. Look how that pooled. There it is. Lace trim on quite a few of them. Now this side didn't get as much saturation, but then this side got lots. There's another piece that's got a lot more of that lace on it. I even did some notebook paper too. There's some more of that lace. I just love the looks that I got in this, and there was no need in doing any of my splatters or anything because this tea was so rich in color. Look at that. It was just so rich in color that it didn't need anything else done to it. There's some more of that lace trim. Look at that. That is just, I love that. And with the tea that I used, it was just the Walmart brand of Lipton, and it was the family size tea bags. I put 4 family size tea bags in about a half gallon, maybe just a little bit more of a half gallon than a half gallon of water in a bowl, put it in the microwave on 14 minutes, let it steep overnight. And then when I got up the next morning, so that was Friday night, when I got up Saturday morning, I poured that tea into a disposable tin pan and just started dipping paper. And this is the color that I got from that tea steeping overnight. It was wonderful. I love it, and I think that's going to be my new go-to. I still love my ink staining, ink dyeing, but this tea dyed paper is just gorgeous. And I use this tea dyed paper in my ring bound journal I just finished. But I mean, look at that. I love those ripples. Those have my heart right there. All right, so to make this ring bound journal, I got out some old craft colored cardstock that I had in my stash. This is some that I got. It's Coordinations Premium Cardstock Crafty, and it's a very stiff type of craft cardstock paper. It is 65 pound. All right, so I'm going to give you the main measurements of my base pages that are inside this journal. So my covers, this is not my page measurements. My cover measurement is 7 inches by 5.5 inches wide. So 5.5 inches by 7 inches. And I just cut 2 pieces of craft cardstock and sandwich them together to make a really good sturdy cover. So that is my front and back covers. And then my main pages, and I just use 8.5 by 11 cardstock, guys. So, you know, you can make this rather easily with just regular old cardstock. You don't even need huge cardstock. So then my main pages inside this journal are 5 1/4 by 6 3/4. So 5 1/4 inches by 6 3/4 inches is a main page. Then there's another page that is 4 inches by 6 3/4 inches. So this is width, this is height, width, height. And then I have a flip out page in here, a few of them, that is 4 1/2. This is height. Sorry, this one is a little backwards. I'm sorry. Height is 4 1/4, and width is 8 1/2. So I'm going to do width first over here by 4 1/4. So it is 8 1/2 long. So it's just the top of an 8.5 by 11 sheet of cardstock. 8 1/2 long or wide by 4 1/4 tall, or the height of it. And then I scored it at 5 inches. So I put it on my score pal at the 5-inch mark, scored it, folded it over. Okay, so that is my 3 main pages that are inside this journal. So let me put, this is, let's see, this is, yeah, all of this is width first, and then times height. So if anybody wants to, oh, and then scored at 5 inches on the width side. Okay, so if anybody wants to make a screenshot, there is that. That is the measurements for my main pages in my ring bound journal. Okay, so there is that. And what I did with each one of them is I just kind of stacked them how I wanted them in my journal. So I have like a main page, and then you turn it and you have a flip out page, then you have a little skinny page, and I just got some scrap cardstock that I had in my, well, I say scrap, it was 12 by 12, but I had it in my stash for a long time, and I just used that. It's got like a texture on one side and it's smooth on the other. You could use whichever one you wanted. This is all of my little borders that I reinforce are 1 inch wide. So I just cut 1 inch strips and put them up against the pieces, and then I, you know, just lopped off the top and the bottom to make my edges. And I will show you on the back side. I did not cover this one up, so you can see it's just to reinforce where those rings are going to go in the edges of your page. So there is that, and I will show you now the flip through of this little beauty. I love it. It is going to be on sale on our website. I wanted to make one just to show you that there are different ways of making a journal. They don't all have to be, whoop, that little pearl come loose, didn't it? They don't all have to be just a sewn in journal. You can make all kinds of journals any way you would like. And this one takes me back to my mini album days, when I used to make mini albums all the time here on YouTube. And I still make a mini album from time to time, but most of the time my videos are journal related. And this one, you know, if you're just looking at it, you're thinking, looks like a mini journal to me, a mini album to me. Well, it is, but it also has little journals inside of it. Now, this actually has 22 tuck spaces and pockets. And then, if I'm not mistaken, there's 4 journals inside of this. So I'm going to put this off to the side. I've already showed it in the front. If you need a screenshot, you can just rewind and get that. I used on all of the bases of the pages, I used the Ledgers and Lace digital kit that Miss Betty has on her Etsy shop. And that is Betty's Custom Design, and I will leave that link in the description box below. That is her paper there on the front, and I just put another piece of that cardstock, craft cardstock, and ripped it up and inked it, and then I fussy cut one of the flowers out of her kit, and then some tea-dyed lace. That's that there. I thought stationery. I thought that was a cute little twist on this journal, and put that dictionary sheet there. And then this is just some coffee dyed paper that I had in my scrap pile that I zigzag stitched on, and I just zigzag stitched a couple of times on that coffee dyed paper and then trimmed it out, and I used these little strips throughout the journal. On the cardstock pieces that I put on all the edges, I inked them, and then I stamped just kind of willy-nilly on those and give it a little bit of character. I stamped there. That is I used the Tim Holtz Field Notes stamp set throughout this. And then I made a little charm piece with a Tim Holtz loop clip, and some trim. And then this is one of the label dangle charms that I made on a video a couple of days back, and I will link that in the description box below. So those are little word label dangles that I made a video on. Then this is one of those, I told y'all when I made that video, my first time using wax seals, when I made this one, I said, this one will go perfectly with a journal I'm working on. And there it is. It does go beautifully. That gold and pink went really well with what I used here. And then instead of cutting off the stitching, I kind of just wound it up and gave it a little grungy look there. And I added a few little pearls. I'm going to have to add some glue back behind these just because it's on cardstock and then paper, and that in between it, they're just popping up. So I'm going to add some liquid glue behind those and get those set a little bit better. So there is my cover of that one. I really like how that turned out. And then when you open it up, you have a front pocket that has a top pocket, and then it has a side tuck. So this is just some pieces. Now these are from My Porch Prints, and then this is some fussy cut pieces that Miss Betty sent me in the mail. Happy mail. Thank you, Miss Betty, for those. I just kind of layered those up and put them in that side tuck. And these are also some tickets that she sent me, that she fussy cut for me. And I just used my little slot punch that is a Stamp It Up. I don't know if Stamp It Up still has these or not, but these are really great. It's just like a ticket slot punch, but I used it at the top of the tags to put my ribbon through. Thought that was cute, and then just added a little bit of faint stamping here and there to give some character to the pages. This first page is one of those 5 1/4 by 6 3/4 pages, excuse me, and just added my piece of cardstock to the edge to reinforce where those rings are going in. You could also use that little, I probably don't have it right here, the little reinforced hole punch, and add some little decorative stuff around on those if you wanted to. This is another piece of fussy cut. Both of these are, and I just adhered them on two sides to give myself a little tuck, and stamped there on that after I put down that ledger and lace paper from Miss Betty's digital kit, and inked pretty heavy here on that border. And then this is a little journal that I made with a few of those tea-dyed papers. And instead of doing the punched holes, and I just stitched it. Since they're so thin, I just stitched it. It was very easy to stitch, even for me, and I'm a horrible seamstress. But I just used some more of the paper, and she's got an add-on kit that is only available to scrapbookingwithme.com people. So our customers, so I fussy cut that out and added it with a little bit of dictionary page. And there is our first little journal in this album. Okay, and then the next page, you will see something very familiar if you watched my YouTube yesterday. I made a pocket with some of the craft cardstock and just added a little cluster of fussy cut pieces on top of the paper that I had used. Done a little bit of stamping, a little stamping on this side, and some heavy inking. And then this is one of the little notepads that were inspired by Julie from Camellia Craft Designs that I added into this pocket. It's one of the index cards that I had dyed a couple of months ago. And then that's just another piece of the ledger paper from the kit that I just folded in half just to give some extra little journal space, and just layered them on top of each other in that little pocket. Okay, and then we come to our first flip out page. Okay, so that is the little 4 1/4 by 8 1/2 page that has the score line at 5 inches. Okay, so that's what this one is. And I collaged this, put some washi stickers on, a few little die cuts, another little die cut stamped there on the edge, and then made a little shallow pocket here. Did a little bit of stamping on that. I added some, this is the only place I've added that pink, rosy red pink cardstock anywhere else but the spine. And I just thought that would be cute to have a little peekaboo piece of it. And then some more of Miss Betty's fussy cut pieces she sent me, tucked in that little pocket there. So there's my first little flip out page. I love how that looked. That focal point, I just couldn't cover that up at all, so I just added a little wonderful word label there. This one, I have some stamping that kind of goes along with that piece there, and I cut out a piece of that kit paper and just tore it and inked and added a little cluster there, so that gives some extra room for journaling. Kind of heavily inked there, maybe even added a little splatter there. Here is our first little skinny page, what I called skinny page. There that is, 4 inches by 6 3/4. And I made a tuck with one of the fussy cut pieces that she sent, and I kind of left this alone as it was because all the rest is kind of heavily inked. Used some of that craft paper, added a little die cut and a torn piece, and that is just a plain trifold piece to tuck in for journaling. there, and then you flip it over and you have a belly band. I use some of the kit paper and then a dictionary page and just a little die cut, and then that is a belly band there and has a little spot there for journaling. Easy peasy. And then here is our next journal, and you will notice this is one of my shabby chic page borders from the last week's Scrapbusters challenge. So I just glued it on the edges and left the front open so that things could be tucked in. And in this case, it is another little journal, and I added another piece of that sewn coffee dyed paper there and just inked it, used some of the kit paper and sewed that in. And look at that lace trim that come off on that staining session I had the other day. And I just added a few pages in there so it's not too thick, and tucked it in with that little page border that I had made on the Scrapbusters challenge last week. And then done a little bit of stamping, some more inking, and then flip it over and we have another journal. This is another piece of that coffee dyed paper that I zigzagged stitched on. I'll get it out in a minute, y'all. And just stamped a little bit, inked, sewn. Oh, that's a little die cut piece. Sewn in the journal. That's another piece from the add-on kit that she offered to the Scrapbooking with Me customers. And then just some more tea-dyed paper in there. Look how that lace piece goes off on that one. Pretty, pretty, pretty. I love staining paper. So cute. And then that just tucks right in there. There's another one of my fold pages. That is a pocket that is on the add-on sheets that she gave us. And then I did another torn pocket here and have just some little bits and bobs in there. And then I added another little fussy cut piece that she had sent me there. And a little piece of dictionary page, some stamping. That even has a little butterfly. You can see pretty well there. Make sure I'm not bending anything. And then this one has just a little piece of library card tucked in that little pocket there. So that nice little flip out. Special moments. I really liked how that went along with that, so I didn't want to cover either up. Back side, I just put some of the paper and used the craft piece as a mat and stamped on the edge, added a little fussy cut piece and some of that dyed or tea stained trim there. Here's another one of our skinny pages, and I just have a clip with some of that dyed ribbon, lace ribbon on there, little postcard. And then on that sheet, I didn't really want to put anything permanently on that just because I loved how the collaging turned out on it. So I just collaged a bunch of scraps from the actual kit, Ledgers and Lace kit, and stamped a little bit, inked real heavy on it, and then I just clipped this little postcard die cut onto there. Gives it a little more effect out here with some lace sticking out. And on this side, it has a little short tuck using some of that coffee dyed zigzag stitched paper. And I put a piece of the craft behind it to strengthen it because it is just paper. So I put some cardstock back behind it and then just glued like this, put a little die cut piece, and then added a couple of little pieces in there. That's one of the fussy cut pieces that Miss Betty sent, and I stamped pretty heavy on this one, inked pretty heavy on this one, and then added my little pieces into the tuck. This is the glassine bag that I made into a pocket page. I have a video on that. I will leave the description, leave the link in the description box below so that you can go check out how I made this page. But I tried to make videos along the way while I was making this journal so that if you had any questions about things that are in here, I will have links in the description box so that you can go back and reference, oh, okay, so that's how she made this, or I don't understand how she made this glassine bag page. Well, I have a video for it, so I'll link it down below. This one, I did some inking. In the video, I show how I collaged all of this. You can stamp on glassine with Stays On ink, and that's how I did that. And the back collaged also. And then down in here we have just some journaling cards, and then I turned the back one behind or around so that when you put it in the glassine bag, you can still see print on both sides. So there's that page. And then this is another tuck, and that is another one of those shabby chic page borders that I made, and it's got a wax seal on it, lots of little collage pieces, and then in that one is just another folded piece of the kit. And look how beautiful that rose print is. And then I just folded up some coffee dyed paper and made a little booklet with that, with a My Porch Prints digital piece on that, and that is printed on cardstock, so it gave it a little bit more sturdy feel when I'm tucking in to there. So I just kind of layered that up a little bit, stamped a little bit on that, and that made that page. On the back side of that one, I made a little tuck with some fussy cut pieces and just a trifold little piece of craft cardstock with another piece of die cut on top. And I just adhered it on the one edge and not on the other so that it would open up really easily. Stamped a little bit, inked a little bit, and that completed that page. Now, you could always add journaling to this if you wanted to, so just kind of left that plain and as is. Here's another one of our flip out pages, and there is a clip on this side, and then on the outside of this flip out I made a tuck, so there's a little tuck for journaling, tags, whatever. And it also has a loop of lace on the outside just to give a little bit more interest to the edges of the journal. Added word label, some dictionary page, more of the kit paper, and then just glued it here, here, here so that you could have a little tuck space there. And then there is another paper clip with some of that tea-dyed ribbon, lace trim, whatever. And I just added a couple of pieces of die cut to the back of this flip page, and I love that so much. I didn't want to permanently cover it up with anything, which, like I said, this is going to be for sale, so whoever buys it can do whatever they would like and add whatever they would like to it if they want to, but I just didn't want to permanently cover that up. That is so pretty. This is a piece from this, so I cut this one. This page border was really tall, so I cut the bottom off and used that piece here on this little flip out and just added some, just one little piece of die cut there to the border part, and then inked some torn paper and called that good. I like how that looked. All right, and then when you fold that in, of course, that lace is going to turn a little bit, as far as turn backwards if you get it caught in there, but I'm good with that. I don't think anybody's going to have a fit about that one. Then, of course, with that loop of lace that I have on the edge here, I just covered up where I glued it down with that little piece. And then that's another washi sticker piece there. Inked the edges, and that's just the paper that I covered that craft cardstock on the back side of that one. For this little skinny page, I made a simple little pocket. Put one of the fussy cut pieces on the outside of it and then just trimmed it off and put a library card down in it. Now on the back side of it, it's got beautiful print from that ledger and lace kit from Miss Betty. And then I just stamped off a little bit with that Tim Holtz stamp set, one of those stamps in that, and stamped a little bit on there, and then inked a little heavy just with the ink pad itself before I put the rings in. Just went around and kind of did heavy inking on some of them just with the pad itself. And that was walnut stain. I inked with walnut stain throughout this. Some of it I went back through and did a little bit of vintage photo, but most of it is the walnut stain. So that just a little simple pocket there on that one. This one has a belly band on it, and I used that slot punch again and punched there on that paper, and I just glued it here and here, and then had just an open space there that I put some of the papers and another little die cut and just tucked it back behind it. Now, if you are putting something down in there that has tails, you might get one stuck in there every once in a while. But other than that, I thought that was a really cute idea to make a little slot for ribbon there at the bottom of a belly band. So there's that page, a little inking around the edges. We have another tuck space here that I cut out. This tag shape is a piece from the add-on, and used the Tim Holtz stamp set, made that little label stamp impression, and then used, that is the, I knew I used a different ink for some of the stamping. I used pumice stone just so that it kind of blended in a little better, and then I used the vintage photo to stamp that just to have it a little darker. So that's just another torn piece of craft with a die cut there, and then this has another journal in it. So more of that coffee dyed paper with the zigzag stitching, and some of the tea dyed papers inside there, and then it's all just stitched in there. Easy, easy. And I just left the strings because I like how the strings stick out on both ends in the journal itself. So there's that page. And then on the back side, I did just a traditional pocket, added a word label. And in this one, for the notch, I tore the notch instead of using a circle punch, and stamped along the edges there, inked it pretty heavy. And then in here I have a little journal spot, and then a folded over piece of craft, and used the last of my coffee dyed stitched paper with a couple of die cuts, and I thought that turned out cute, so that when you put it in the pocket, if I can get that little die cut to stop snagging on the edge of the notch, when you put it in the pocket, it kind of borders the pocket. I liked how that looked. So that's that page. And then our back cover, I did the exact same, well, almost exact same, probably not in height, but same pocket style on the back cover. So you have your top pocket, and then you have your side tucks. And I just These are my porch prints, and that is one of the fussy cut pieces from Miss Betty. And then I put a couple of die cuts there on that tuck, and then those tags in the top there, and did some stamping and used my slot punch again, and used added that lace. And then there is our back cover. So pretty simple. The decorating, of course, you always hear me say that the decorating took the longest, but as far as assembly, getting this together, it was very easy. Now, when you go to punch your holes, of course, I used my crocodile on the largest hole, and I started with my skinniest pages, like my shortest pages is what I mean. I used this one as my guideline, so I punched it where I wanted it, and then I would put this page on the front of the cover and punched it, just to make sure that all of the pages punched correctly and everything was lined up correctly, so that I didn't get any pages too far down or too far up. So I used my shortest page, one of my shortest flip out pages, as my guide to go through, and just laid it on top of the next page and punched, and then took that page off and laid it on top of the next page and punched, just to make sure that all of my little punch holes lined up correctly. So anyway, that is my ring bound junk journal. It's got 4 journals and 22 pockets and tucks, and it will be for sale on the website scrapbookingwithme.com. And here is a top view, and then side view. It's nice and chunky and got all kinds of little pleasing little visual edges to it. So I really enjoyed putting it together. It really only took me a good day to assemble it and decorate it. But that was just what I wanted to do that day. So it was very easy for me in that sense. If you have any questions about dimensions, measurements, anything like that, or how I done something and you can't find the video in the description box below, just leave me a comment. I will be happy to try to answer it if I can. And y'all have a great day. I will see you in the next video. Thanks so much for watching. Please subscribe and give me a thumbs up. And thank you for watching to the end. That helps me so much with YouTube's algorithms. Y'all have a blessed day. I'll see you in the next video. Bye, y'all.